Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Steve Murray with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Thank you for joining us here this morning. As you all know, this morning we're going to talk about in-service non-hardship withdrawals as a way to potentially gain more interest in your local area with your product knowledge, and of course, in the end, hopefully help you to gain opportunities to do more business, specifically around in-service non-hardship withdrawals. So the presenter for today is Dave Pimper. Dave is the coach. He does, his firm is called Lazarus Coaching. Besides being a coach, he's also a producer himself, works with a lot of qualified funds. It's a major part of his business, and the opportunity around in-service non-hardship withdrawals is one that he felt that if more people knew about and took advantage of, they could definitely help their business grow and help their clients. So great subject matter today. This is really truly more of just a learning and training opportunity for you. So I thank you all for taking some time to join us. And we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to try and get you out of here by 10:45 or so. So we're going to zoom right through a few things as we get started. So a couple of business builders here I want you to be aware of, if you're not already, the RPM program and marketing reimbursement programs. You can see them there in front of you. I will tell you that the RPM program is, we send out some of our largest checks there. We send them out quarterly, and they're just, it's a bonus. Nothing comes out of your referee's pocket. So if you refer a colleague, he does business, we're going to send you a small bonus based on the business that they do. No liabilities that you have when you have sub-agents and things like that. If there's chargebacks, that's all taken care of. That's all, it flows back up to IAMS, not to you. So it's a nice little feature. Marketing reimbursement, again, when you do business, you get money goes in your marketing reimbursement account. Anything that you do in marketing to grow your business, you can access that account, and we'll match your spend dollar for dollar. New producers, I see we've got, I'm looking at our list, we probably have 15 to 20 folks on there that as I scan up and down, I know that you're relatively new at this. So just look on there and see, you can claim the new producer bonus at any one of those levels. You can see what you can do, everything from a Ritz-Carlton travel package for you and your guests all the way down to just a $750 cash bonus. We do some nice things. If you look at the 300,000 level, you can see also you can tap into, we can put money right into your marketing reimbursement account, which is great. If you want to get in the seminar business with some coaching, we have that available at the 500,000 point level with both Matt and Dave Pimper. And that's good for your first 180 days contracting with us. Life and Annuity Academy. So we just finished one up. And if you have interest in joining us for Life and Annuity Academy, I'm going to shoot this poll up. Take a quick look at some of the things. I think the centerpiece is obviously that four top producers presenting at that. I think that's the reason that most folks want to come and sit and listen and learn for some people that are currently just like them out in production, doing some things to help grow their business. We've got some great folks that do that. We have a lot of, if you look down the rest of that list, there's some things impending in our industry, which I think everybody needs to know about. Best interest stuff coming back again, some fiduciary rumblings going on again. I think we all need to be aware of that, know how to prepare ourselves, to prepare our businesses for those types of things. We talk about that. We talk about some product. We talk about a lot of the things that we can do here at IAMS to help you grow your business. So great meeting. Everybody always leaves, and I can't tell you how many times I've heard one of the best meetings I've ever been to for growing your business and things like that. So here's what will happen. I'm going to launch this poll really quickly. I ask you to vote really quickly as well. If you say yes on this poll, what's going to happen is you're going to get an email. It'll come from Christy here at our office, and basically what she's going to say is, hey, here's a sample agenda. So it'll be agenda from our last meeting, and here's a registration form. If you have interest in coming in after you look at the agenda, fill out that registration form. We're going to do 2 more of those probably this year, and then we do about 3 or 4 a year. And so if you send your registration form in, all that means is we call you and say, hey, we've got a meeting coming up on such and such a date. If it fits into your schedule, great. From your standpoint, what's most important, I think, from you're going to be out of your office for 3 days. So it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Usually you'll come in on Wednesday, you'll head back on Friday. So you got a commitment of time there. A lot of information. We'll send you home with a nice, pretty complete folder that you can reference back to on all the things that we talked about. Has all the PowerPoints. You'll be able to look at that as well. So great stuff to kind of a take home for you. We're going to take care of your expenses, so your travel and your lodging. We're going to take care of those expenses, meals for sure. And it's a nice chance to share with other people just like you looking to grow their business. So if that's of interest to you, just hit yes on that poll. If it's not, if you've been in recently, go ahead and hit no. We won't bother you about it. It's really is an industry recognized sales and marketing event that you may, if you haven't been into, I would say if you can take that time out of your business and you're looking at ways, if a lot of people hit right where they want to be on the business side. They're doing as much business as they want. They got plenty of prospects to see. They're running their office efficiently. If that's you, then the academy is not going to help you. That's what we talk about. Sales, marketing, efficiency in your office. What other top producers do it. So if you're right where you want to be there, then hit no on that. If you're not where you want to be, or if you've been into the academy in the last year or two, by all means hit yes. We'd love to have you come in. So, wow, thank you. You all voted very quickly, so I appreciate that. I'm going to close that poll out. There are a couple of you, looks like, that are not able to vote. Just call me at the office if you want to go. There's a number there right before 800-255-5055. I'm going to close that out, get moved on. We're going to be at the Ritz. Qualifications just ending up. You can see that it ends on June 30th. It takes 3 million of credits, basically, which is dollar for dollar for annuity premium. Life premium counts are about 13 times. $1 of target premium counts about 13 times for point purposes. So any business you do, as long-term care, single premium life, target premium, Medicare, even annuity premium, all counts. And we'd love to have you join us at our top producer marketing summits. It's for you and your guests. We always go someplace nice. We keep the meetings to a minimum, let you relax and enjoy some time, spend some time with other top producers like yourself. Great way to kind of build your network, if you will. So we'd love to see you join us. Qualifications just ending here. If you're wondering where you're at point-wise, give your sales director a call. This morning, they all got the most current points that run right through the end of April. So they'll have your current points for you. Many of you will receive, if you have near where you might be able to qualify, you'll get a letter in the mail here with your current point standings here in the next couple of days. But let's move on from that as well. So here we are. Dave, are you up and at 'em this morning? You might be muted, Dave. If you are, you want to unmute. And we're going to get started here with in-service non-hardship withdrawals as a way to grow your business. And if you don't mind, I'm going to put you all on mute for just a second. Dave may be having a technical difficulty, so we'll try and get that taken care of. Hold on just a second. Well, that explains it. So Dave is actually on his way into our office. He's going to be here in about 2 minutes. So let's go ahead. I'm going to give you some of the background on Dave just so that y'all have it. So Dave has been with us for about 15 years now, been a coach with us for about 14 of those. He does seminars with us. He does recently introduced a radio program, so looking forward to the results on that as well. We're getting really good feedback on the radio program, so if that's something you have interest in, please let us know. 33, 34 plus years in the business. He is both securities licensed and insurance license. I would say his business is 50-50, maybe more like 60-40 securities. He would be the first one to tell you that you don't need to have a securities license to be successful and take advantage of some of the opportunities that he makes available for us. Certainly not at all when you're dealing with somebody on their in-service non-hardship withdrawals. So there's great opportunity for those of you that are securities licensed, certainly just as many opportunities for those of you that are not. And he'll go through that a little bit when he's talking about how in-service non-hardship withdrawals work. So he's got a lot of experience in the business. He is currently a producer, does regular business with us, top producer with us on the insurance side. I know he's one of the top producers with his broker dealer. So you can feel comfortable that the information that he is giving you is not just accurate, but also germane to what you're trying to accomplish with your clients, and going to be helpful for you as you're trying to grow your business as well. So really good stuff. One other thing that I wanted to mention to you all as we're getting started with this webinar on in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans. The 401k marketplace is as big a marketplace as there is. And many people remember, if you're on the line with us and you've been in the business for more than 10 or 12 years, you remember a little bit about when this came into play, when the in-service non-hardship withdrawals really came to be an issue, was when we had things happen like WorldCom and Enron, if you remember Enron. So a lot of the folks, and it affected us, it certainly affected the Omaha area very closely, because one of the subsidiaries and really the base company for Enron was a company called Northern Natural Gas. And so a lot of Northern Natural Gas is based here in Omaha. Well, as when Enron moved down to Houston, they grew really from a industry standpoint. They became kind of a leader, and they became one of the largest companies in the kind of the oil and gas reselling type business. And what they did with their employees is a lot of what their 401k consisted of was stock in the company itself. Well, if you all remember what happened to Enron, that left a lot of people destitute, because everybody, as the company basically bankrupted, their stock price went from, I think, a high of somewhere in the 116, 118 range down to almost zero. That devastated many 401ks, because 80 to 90% of many people's 401k was in that stock, which was great for many years while that stock was growing and growing and growing. But when it crashed, and that's many people were counting on those funds for their retirement, all of a sudden that disappeared, devastating to a lot of folks that were part of the Enron family, and certainly devastating to a lot of folks here in Omaha that that was the core of their many years of retirement savings, was what was relatively healthy 401ks. Multi-million-dollar 401ks basically disintegrated. So really, it was at that time a lot of the legislation that came about as the stock market kind of crunched up at that time. Most of that regarding 401ks had to do with, we needed to offer people many more options. So at the time, what they basically said, hey, as a carrier or as a company, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your folks in your 401k, and they established that at the same time. And then they also made it possible for companies, even without a hardship, they made it more regular that they offered those withdrawal options. So that's really when in-service non-hardship withdrawals came about and became a big deal. Unfortunately, it was one of those things where a lot of producers weren't aware of that. So if they heard about money in a 401k, they well, that's money that I cannot access and cannot talk to my client about at all. And then in as the Obama administration more and more promoted annuities as a viable option for savings, and then started making them available through 401ks in some cases. And then people got more and more realized that annuities could be used as part of 401ks, and how in-service non-hardship withdrawals could really, give folks the opportunity to diversify within the 401k portfolio and not leave them so exposed to, just one stock like what happened with Enron. That became a much, much bigger deal. So Dave is going to talk a little bit about how you find the availability of those. He's going to talk a little bit through the opportunity and a little bit more in depth. And so with that, I'm going to turn it over to the coach, Mr. Dave Pimper.
Hey, everybody. I actually just rolled into the IAMS home office here. Had an appointment actually from a Social Security workshop that went a little longer than expected, but a very good appointment. So I'm glad we got a bunch of people talking about in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans. And I'll tell you right now, most advisors do not use this as a prospecting tool, and most of the public have no idea what it means, what it does, or if they qualify for this. So as we walk through those slides today, which is only going to take about 20 minutes or 25 minutes, but if you have any questions, I would certainly like you to go in and just type them in, and we will answer those at the end. So as Steve Murray, co-owner of IAMS, was talking about, and I'm going to kind of read this and add to it, but the definition of an in-service withdrawal, and it's non-hardship. A withdrawal made from a qualified, that means from a 401k, a 403b, a 457, could be FERS. I mean, any kind of really a qualified plan account before the holder experiences a triggering event. So a triggering event is reaching a certain age, and normally it's 59 and a half. You cannot do this normally if you're less than 59 and a half years of age. Leaving an employer, got fired, disability, etc. So what happens is an in-service withdrawal distribution option allows the plan participant to receive some or all of their 401k assets while they're still employed, and usually the age is 59 and a half. So for example, and this came through Retirement Boss Radio, which is another lead generation program and process that we have here at IAMS. I don't work for IAMS. I'm an independent representative, advisor, agent, just like you guys and gals are. But I have coached for IAMS. Been with them for 14 years in production and 13 years coaching for them. And my expertise around coaching is seminar coaching. Actually, this came a Social Security seminar person that I talked to earlier, and I have actually a Retirement Boss Radio that I talked on the phone earlier about his son's 401k. But my expertise with coaching is really the sales process, the prospecting process, the marketing process, and it's all about getting in front of qualified participants. So what happens here is that here is a fellow that called in. He actually was in cash in his 401k and had been for quite a while, and it was about $500,000, and he called in from the radio show and knew that he needed to go in and he could get a higher a stronger return, and he wanted the majority of that money in security, which we put in to be secured to fixed indexed. But he was 62 years of age, and he didn't even know that he had a in-service non-hardship plan available. Okay, so that really is the definition, kind of from the scholastical side. So here's some rules, some thoughts when you're talking, just kind of quick hitters when you're talking about in-service non-hardship withdrawals. Normally you have to be 59 and a half to participate. So if you're 58, nope, it's not going to work. You got to be 59 and a half to be able to take that withdrawal. It's available from qualified, not IRAs, not Roth IRAs, but company retirement plans. And so what happens is that depending on the blueprint of that plan, you might be able to just take the money from anything that you put in and gained, which they keep track of that. Nothing of the match of the company. That's not common, but it certainly can. I had another plan, actually, it was with the post office. She wanted to take her money out, but if she did, she had to suspend for 6 months any contributions to the plan. And I think that's if you took all of it out. We do partial in-service non-hardship withdrawals quite often, or a portion of it. If you took that money in hand, there'd be a 20% withholding, but there's not if you directly roll it over. May need spousal consent, especially if the primary beneficiary is not your spouse. You can't have a loan against it. Loans would have to be paid if they're outstanding. You got to work there for at least 2 of 5 years. And why into an IRA? Well, better options. And we do a lot with, say, a person's got $700,000 in the 401k. They're 64 years of age. They have a stable income fund that's been averaging 1.5%. They got a short-term bond fund that actually lost money, say, last year and made very little money the year before. Well, they can go into fixed index annuity with 5-6% cap. Even if you go with a fixed account, it might be 2 to 3%. So it's just very much more aggressive outside of the plan when it comes to guaranteed strategies such as fixed index annuities or fixed annuities. So that we'll take a portion of that of their safety money. Yeah, more options, absolutely. And you know what? Everyone loves options. Everyone loves of alternative plans, whether they take it or not, but you can be the one that brings it up to them. So you got to think to yourself, excuse me, why do companies go in and offer an in-service non-hardship withdrawal provision? You ever thought about that? Well, the company does it, and I'm going to walk through some of the specifics here. So first of all, they want to be competitive to find the best employees and for the employees to have control of their money. So when it's in a 401k, it's administered by by that company, and there's a trustee involved, but the administrator is usually a person from that company, one of the executives or owners of that company. When you go into an individual retirement account, it's individual for you. So you do have control of that money. There's no doubt that there's many more options in an IRA than there is a 401k. This lady this morning, she had 7 options in her 401k, and the option that she had for the guarantee was a stable income fund. And we looked it up. 1.41% is what the current is, and over the last 5 years has averaged about 1.1%. Just not very competitive. And I have a chance to get all of that, but I might get a portion of it from the guaranteed standpoint. But that's really, why companies offer it, is to be competitive. Okay. Second thing is that a lot of people want to continue but work part-time. It's called a phased-in retirement. Remain employed by reducing their work hours. Yeah. Maybe they have to work 25 hours to still be considered full-time. But once, it didn't happen 20 years ago. Hey, I'm staying with this company because they got good health insurance. It didn't, but it does now. It certainly does now. And what happens is that people, my brother-in-law is out in California. I was talking to him. He works for Home Depot, and he's in their IT department. And he's about 7 miles, I think, from his home right now, the Home Depot. But he's got a Home Depot that's about 10 blocks from his home. If he can go there, he said he absolutely is going to go part-time. He's talking about, gas for his car. And in California, it's by San Francisco. It's real busy. Up in the South Napa Valley, beautiful area, but city called Santa Rosa. But what happens is that's much more common now, that you just don't retire lock, stock, and barrel, but you phase. So you know what happens there is, all of a sudden, hey, he's working part-time, but maybe he doesn't have the options within his 401k, and that is a great time to go in and roll part of that or all of that over into an individual retirement account. Employer liability, yeah, just follow the money. You know, if let's say this person right here, and he doesn't, but let's say that person I'm talking about's got 1.5 million in his IRA or his 401k, and let's say he wants all of it into a guaranteed strategy because he doesn't want to lose any money, and they have a money market paying 0.5%, and they got a stable income fund paying 1.41%. And let's just say that he's in there for 5 years, averaging 1.5%, but CDs outside, 5-year CDs were paying 2.5%, government bonds are paying 2.5%, and fixed index annuity. I'm going to tell you, with the 1-year point-to-point cap of 5 or 6%, I can't guarantee it, but I can almost assure it's going to be more than 1.5%. He might go back into that employer and say, "Hey, you never had the right investments here. You don't have nearly enough guaranteed strategies. I'm suing you. I'm suing you. Not that I didn't make money, but I didn't make near the money I could have on the outside." What does the employer say? "Hey, bub, you could have took your money out at 59.5. It's part of the plan." Well, I had no idea on that. Well, we sent you an email on that like 4 years ago that covered us. Yeah, employers normally do not want that money going out of the plan. I just did one, 560,000, with the guy that I had done business with before. He's extremely conservative. He's had his money in money market for the last 3 years, earning less than 0.5%. Roll that whole thing over into a fixed index. And I do a lot of security business, and I try to kind of break that out from a holistic standpoint. Well, he made on his current fixed indexed, he's had it for 8 years or 9 years. You know what? He's averaged over 5% a year. And I said, if I can make 4 or 5% a year, why do I want to go risk my money? Yeah, that came from an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan. So pretty cool. So yeah, employer liability can be a big thing because they can certainly say, "Hey, you had the option to go in and take it out, but you never did." So let's talk about advantages and disadvantages. What's the advantage of an in-service non-hardship withdrawal? Yeah, some more investment choices. It's a tax-free transfer, goes in tax deferred, but you have so many more investment options, especially from the guaranteed standpoint. Do you have full control of your money in a 401k? You don't. Do you have full control of your money in an individual retirement account in your name? You darn right you do. That's a good feeling. Worked your whole life for it. Normally, there's not much professional guidance or advice on a 401k, but there certainly is if they're working with us, so if they're working with an advisor. And also, and I'll just give a plug for the wealth management here at IAMS. Their fee-based advisory business, which is securities, can't charge you commissions. It's all done by a fee. But I'll tell you right now, a little different, like that guy that came with 560,000 and wanted to roll it all into the fixed index, which I normally wouldn't do that, but we did. But I'll tell you what, the fellow that was up that had 700 some thousand, he told me that he wanted half. He wanted half in growth and he wanted half in a guarantee. Well, if I was only doing fixed index, I certainly wouldn't have had a chance to work with it. But you know what happens is that if you don't just have your insurance license and you are security licensed, no doubt. And you know what? That 65 license, I mean, I do have my 7 and I got my 63 and 24. I mean, I have a bunch of other licenses for securities, but you know what? In reality, all you need a life and health so you can show the annuity product. Certainly, if there's single premium index life, I think that's kind of a key need for folks right now too, but also that fee-based money management for the growth side. And then you can actually give advice on investments, which you cannot do with just an insurance license. IAMS has a wealth management, a newer in the last 2.5 years, but they're really putting a lot of assets on now, and they're very good at what they do. In retirement, many people will move more to an income producing stance, easier to do outside than inside of your 401k. especially with investing in income producing types of securities. Or income riders with fixed indexed annuities, or fixed index annuities, and you just take a percentage, 3% out of the available 5 or 10%. Most, not all, 401ks have the ability to stretch, but they normally don't for folks. And the reason is it takes time, it takes paperwork. Yeah, it takes expertise. Most 401ks do not offer the stretch option, but of course you can with an individual retirement account. Now, are there disadvantages? Yeah, one of the key ones, they're just familiar with the mutual funds. They're familiar with that company stock. They're familiar with what they're doing right now. Does that make it the thing to do? No, but it's kind of the lazy man's way of saying, hey, I don't have to mess with it. Let it roll. Not always the best advice. There could be higher fees outside. Now, if you're working with a fixed index or a fixed annuity, no, there are no internal fees unless you have an income rider. No, there is no, there's a cap or a participation spread, yeah, or a fee to, if you're going to use an income rider, but you know what? Not just on the regular fixed index annuity product. There's no cost at all. Some people just don't want to take their money out because the majority of their money is in that 401k. They just want to have it. They want to have the majority of the money in that one account. They're used to it. They're familiar with it. And there is normally 25 to 50 bucks of a transfer fee. It doesn't make much difference when you're looking at quite a bit of money, but it does irritate some people. So let's talk about prospecting. How do you prospect for in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans? Well, we've got Redtail. That's what I have as Redtail as my CRM. There's a lot of other CRMs that are on there, but you can query and any age, and I have the ages of almost on the majority of my prospects. I have their ages, all my clients. Well, I just go in and I say anyone who's 59 to 59 and older. Run a report on every person. Well, 59 and over, get that field, and up comes everybody. And then here's what happens is I start calling. If I haven't done, I've done lots of in-service plans, but if I haven't done one with them, here's the conversation. And they're clients of mine. Been clients, say, for 10, 12 years. Hey, Joe, Dave Pimper with the financial planning firm Calvin Associates. How are you doing? Well, I'm doing good, Dave. How are you doing? Good, good. Hey, you still working? Yeah. I got about 3 years left. I've been at Hormel for forever and ever. They're a good firm. Yeah, you know what? So let me ask you this. Do you know if Hormel has something called an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan? Time out. Now, I used Hormel. They don't have one, but let's use a company that does. So let's say he works at Valmont Industries. It's an irrigation company, light pole company. So they do. So I'll say, do you know that they have something? I know because I've worked with other clients, but they have something called an in-service non-hardship withdrawal. So it's a lot of words, but you know what that means, Joe? That just means if you're over 59, which you are, aren't you? Yeah. Then and give me a real quick idea. What's in your 401k right now? 410,000. It was higher, but this last little market downturn, I've lost 25,000. Okay. So what happens is that means if you wanted to, you could go in and give me 100,000 or 200,000, or you could give it all to me to invest for you. Take it out of the plan and take it here with the rest of your money that you've got, and hopefully let it work. Hopefully, make an effort to avoid those big losses in your plan. And then I would say, are you open to kind of talking about that and see if that could benefit yourself? Yeah, I could be open. Well, let's just do this. Let's set up an appointment for next week. How's Tuesday look? How about 3 o'clock? Great. Looking forward to seeing you there. That's it. That's it. Every prospect that I like, the lady I did today, because she was in between jobs, but she was 64. She's still working. She worked for a firm for 17 years. That firm, I would have asked, Do you have an in-service non-hardship provision? I don't even know what that is. That means you could take part or all of your money out before you retire from your plan. So let's say Vanguard is your custodian. Well, let's just call Vanguard. We'll find out whether you have it in service, and they get Vanguard on the phone, get her right there. They said that the advisor can talk for you. Yeah, I always ask, what the value of the plan is, and then I'll say, does this have a 59.5 rule, an in-service non-hardship withdrawal rule at 59.5? I would say of big companies, 70% of big companies do, and I would say that 35-40% of smaller mid-sized companies do, but more than half of the companies do. Yeah, it's a great way to prospect. So I say, you want to get the 401k statement so you can look at it. Ask the prospect client if she or they know about in-service non-hardship withdrawal. Whoever that plan sponsor is, Fidelity, Vanguard, Ameritrade, Mass Mutual, American Funds, Capital Guardian, what happens, you call directly to them. So when I find out whether, I used to have them ask their HR person, or I called the HR investment person. I want to tell you what, it was hard to get through to them. They didn't want to give information. So we just call the sponsor on the phone, go through the whole phone tree. And you know what happens is you can find out from them whether they've got an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan. So what happens is that it gives them an option that they do not have right now. Absolutely. It gives them an option they do not have right now. It makes their portfolio probably better than it was because of putting in some halts to losses with some kind of contractually guaranteed strategy, or from a security side if you happen to be securities licensed. Judge Billings' learned hand. Isn't that a mouthful? For the United States Second Court of Appeals, Helvering versus Gregory. Here's what it says. Anyone may so arrange his affairs that his taxes shall be as low as possible. Nobody owes the public duty to pay any more than the law demands. And that's right. I love it. I was listening to, it was a conservative talk show. I don't know if it was Fox or not. It could have been, but it was on Sirius XM. And this guy was just saying how, rich have got to pay more. Rich have got to pay more. Well, what do you consider rich? Anybody over 400,000? Well, he did say he made 1.4 million the last year, and he was saying how low his bracket was. Well, the lady that was there interviewing just said, well, pay more. If you think we should pay more, he says, but it's not law. You don't have to have law to pay more. The IRS will take it. That was really funny, I thought. But you don't need to pay more than what the law requires. And I really love that quote. I've used that quote for over 25 years in workshops. So rolling it into a direct IRA, yeah, there's no taxation on the rollover. You continue the tax deferral. There's just a lot of investment options out here. Even if you're strictly insurance licensed, they could do a fixed annuity. They could do a fixed index. With fixed index annuity, they've got point to point. They've got averages. They've got monthly. They've got from averages. They got yearly. You might take, there's just fixed account, all different kind of things. It's really an all-weather type of strategy on a fixed index annuity. If you're not doing fixed index, I think it's a mistake. If there's one product, one financial strategy that I show, I think fixed index has got to be one of the top ones, just because it covers a lot of ground. RMD's at 7.5, so there's a forced income at 7.5. With Social Security planning, which I do a lot of that, and I coach that also with seminars. What happens is that, and I'll say this too, if you don't have a background on Social Security, you got to ask yourself, why not? Why don't you have that background? You know why you don't? Because you haven't taken the time. I guarantee you this. If you're working with pre-retired, retired, you've had prospects and clients ask you. There's 7. I just saw this today. I went out to a fee-based money management meeting who I do my business through called Equus. And what happens is, a slide said that 70% of prospects you talk to that don't their advisor doesn't do Social Security, 70% of them say that they would consider leaving that advisor for someone who is holistic. How about them apples? Pretty darn incredible, huh? If you don't know Social Security, yeah, mark yes, give us a call. I coach Social Security. I do that with piggybacking to get the appointments with the seminar. But I'll tell you what, Social Security will play really an impact on most people's income plan that they have in retirement. But controlling your money, taking it from the 401k to the IRA, and then just the potential to stretch that or inherit that money, it's much easier, much better option coming from an IRA. Okay? So, as we're closing up here, I just want to end on this. And I say recovering from the stock market losses. People who do fixed indexed and fixed, yeah, I'm telling you what, if you're working at pre-retired and retired, the one thing they can't afford is a big loss. But if you make 10% the first year in the market, 10% the second year in the market, 10% in the third, and then you lose 10, you know what? You got to get a 34% return to average 10% again. Isn't that wild? Remember, a 50% loss takes a 100% gain to get back. The last two times this happened, 2007, 8, 9, 2001 and 2. And if you average those together, it took about 4.5 years average just to get back to even. A 10% loss only needs an 11% gain. And I love this. With a fixed or fixed index, a zero loss needs a zero gain to get back to even. How about that? So I coined this. I'm going to take credit. It's not how good your good years are. It's how good your bad years are. That is extremely important when you're working with the pre-retired and just retired crowd. So here, we're ending this presentation, this webinar. I'm telling you what, out of all the people that were on board, we had one person that dropped off, so there must have been pretty good information. You know what? If you don't take action, nothing happens. I love Nike's slogan. It says, just go do it. You can take that, and people who take action are normally successful. It says, it's not the return on my investment that I'm concerned about. It's the return of my investment. That's the kind of business we're in. Yeah, I've done almost 500 public seminars. I'm still in production. I started in 81. That makes me an old geezer, but I'm still pretty good at what I do. I do a lot of coaching, seminar coaching, radio coaching, where you have an hour radio show. That's something I did 11 years of live radio, and another 13 years of an day end market report. But I'll tell you what, radio advertising, which really can be even less than seminar marketing, could be a real niche if you live in an area that has enough population, 100,000 or more. But I'll tell you what, a lot of FMOs don't have that personal one-on-one, and IAMS does. So there's been a lot to think about. But I will tell you this, and I'm going to launch a poll, and the poll is just going to be, if you'd like to have more information on in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans or have questions, certainly mark yes, and we will give you a call back and get those answered for you. But it says the majority of near retirees, they're just not aware of the in-service non-hardship withdrawal provision. And what happens is that letting them know about that, not just that you can roll over some money and that you can be compensated, but the big thing here is they have more options. You are going in and showing them that there's a better way, or maybe a better way, to invest than what they have in their 401k. So if there's any questions, certainly type them on in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and answer just a couple real quick questions. One question here, I'm paraphrasing this because it's pretty long. Yeah, okay. So what he basically asked was, are there in-service non-hardship withdrawal plans that are earlier than 59.5? There can be. It can be as early as 50. I've only seen it 2 times. Most now is very, very standard at 59.5. I got another question. Yeah, we'll answer that one off air. If you just want to give us a call, we will certainly do that. But I'm going to end this. I mean, I didn't want this to be a long presentation today, But we're going to close the poll down here in about 10 seconds. But if you'd like more information on in-service non-hardship withdrawal, and I'm going to kind of make just a little pitch also to say, if you haven't done seminars, you might want to look into that. We've got a system that's pretty darn good. And in radio, some people don't have a radio voice. I certainly have a radio face. Okay. But radio can absolutely be a unique way to kind of set yourself apart and be the celebrity. We go in all throughout the United States. We just started the program. Steve's here with me, which I'm going to turn it on over, but it's only been probably a month and a half or 2 months. And we've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 6 or 7 radio stations right now that have Retirement Boss Radio on. So certainly if you have some interest there, mark yes also. I appreciate everybody being here today, and then I'll let Steve Murray kind of end this and sign this off. Thank you.
Great stuff as always, Dave. I appreciate you piping in with those questions. That was very helpful for the group to answer those quickly as well. We are going to close that poll out. So if you had some additional questions that you want us or Dave to answer, we can certainly do that. I see we've got a question about Academy. So the location of our next one and the date of our next one are going to be September 18th through the 20th, and it's going to be in Des Moines, Iowa. So that's the date and location of the next one. We may squeeze one in sometime in the summer or later in the fall. We'll have to see how that all plays out, but what we have scheduled right now is September 18th through the 20th in Des Moines, Iowa. Okay, so with that, I'm going to close the poll out. If there are any more questions that happen to arise, certainly we will try and get those answered on a one-off basis. And as time allows here over the next couple of hours, so we'll give you a quick call back. Thank you all for taking some time to join us today. Hopefully you found this helpful. That's what we're about here at IAMS, is making sure that you've got the right information to do the best that you can for your clients and do the best that you can for your business and helping your business grow and supporting your family. So whatever we can do here at IAMS to move that ball up the hill, we're going to do it every time. So you can count on us for that. We also have great incentives. We talked about the upcoming trip to Naples. We've got great training with webinars like this and our face-to-face life and annuity academies. We've got great products. As you know, everybody's got good products. We're not hanging our hat on that, but we do have all the best products that you need. And I think that you will find our service second to none. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your business. To those that are already doing business with us, and for those of you that haven't looked at IAMS yet for your business, I hope you give us a shot. Give us a call here at the office at 1-800-255-5055. Thank you for joining us today, and have a great finish to your sales week.